The living room was dead silent. Not the kind of silence that feels peaceful, but the kind that feels like something's about to break. Mr. Moit sat on the edge of the couch, holding a piece of paper with trembling fingers. His eyes scanned the report card again, as if maybe the numbers would magically change the second time around. But they didn't. The grades were abysmal. Red ink, poor remarks, not one subject spared. His lips pressed into a tight line. He didn't say a word. A few feet away, Monu stood frozen, eyes darting between his father's face and the floor. No excuses, no witty comeback, just a growing pit in his stomach. He knew he messed up, again. And then came the sound that made it worse, paper rustling. Sonu, his twin, walked into the room holding a folder stacked with certificates. Top performer in English, perfect attendance, science fair winner. All that in one term. His smile was quiet, almost unsure. He didn't want to gloat. But his eyes flickered to his brother for just a second, and in that second, everything stung. Their mother, Sema, didn't speak either. She just stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, eyes glossy, disappointment written all over her face. Moit looked up, finally breaking the silence, and spoke. Just 5 words. "You made your choice, Monu." No yelling, no scolding, just that. And it cut deeper than any punishment ever could. But this moment, this was just the result. The storm had already passed. And what you're about to hear, that was how it started. Hey, I'm David, and you're watching Tales of Wisdom. If this moment already hit you in the gut, stay with me. This story isn't just about school, it's about life. Subscribe, share your thoughts below, and let's rewind the clock. Every morning in that small middle-class home began the same way, but split in 2 directions. By 6:30 a.m., Sonu was already dressed, bag packed, books open. The boy didn't need an alarm clock. It was like his brain had its own inner calendar. Hindi test coming up, notes already color-coded, English project due in 3 days, drafted and outlined. He even had a to-do list taped above his study desk, neatly handwritten in blue ink. Meanwhile, Monu? His morning started with a groan, blankets over his head, alarm snoozed 3 times. If he did wake up early, it wasn't for books. It was to sneak out for a quick game of bad ball with the neighborhood kids. No plans, no urgency, just vibes. The funny part? They were twins. Same birthday, same school, same parents. But that's where the similarity ended. At the breakfast table, the difference was glaring. Sema would place parathas in front of Sonu with a quiet nod of approval. "Eat up, beta. You'll need energy for that test." Then she'd glance at Monu, who usually rolled in 10 minutes later, sweaty from playing, and whine. "Mom, hurry! I'm starving." "Did you bathe?" she'd ask. "Ugh, can I eat first? You act like a holiday means prison." And every time, Moit would look up from his newspaper, sigh and say, "Sonu uses time like a tool. You treat it like it's trash." Monu would laugh it off. "Relax, Papa. The test's not today." But under the jokes, the tension was building. Not loud, not explosive, just that slow kind, the kind that settles into a home like dust. No fights, just 2 brothers growing further apart, one rising step by step, the other drifting, one lazy afternoon at a time. And no one, not even Monu, could see the cliff he was heading toward. That weekend felt like a gift from the heavens. No school, no alarms, no teachers breathing down their necks. Just 3 full days of peace. Or so it seemed. Friday evening, Sonu opened his study drawer like it was a treasure chest. He laid out his Hindi notes, organized his flashcards, and quietly sharpened his pencils. No fuss, no noise. Just a kid preparing like his future depended on it. Because to him, it did. Monu, on the other hand, he flopped onto the couch, grabbed the TV remote like it owed him money, and vanished into a marathon of cartoons and cricket. "Just one day," he muttered. "I'll study tomorrow. Swear on it." Tomorrow came and went. Sonu was deep into his English project by then, cutting paper, sketching charts, writing clean, bold headers with a ruler and a steady hand. He worked under the yellow light of his desk lamp, focused like he was solving a national crisis. At one point, their dad passed by the room and stood in the doorway, watching silently. Then he walked off, saying nothing. Down the hall, Monu was laughing so loud at his video game that he didn't even hear his mom's knock. "Beta, you haven't started even a little? At least open your books." "Relax, Ma, it's just Saturday. There's time." But there wasn't. By Sunday night, Sonu's bag was packed. Project laminated, test prep complete. He even helped his mom with the dishes before bed. Monu? He stared at a blank notebook, chewing his pen cap, panic just beginning to settle in. He looked around his messy room, then at the clock. Midnight. The time he thought he had was gone. And all that was left was regret, and a textbook he hadn't even opened. Monday morning hit like a slap. Monu opened his eyes and saw the sun already glaring through the window. His heart dropped. He was late. He jumped out of bed, grabbed whatever uniform pieces were cleanish, and ran out of the house with his tie half knotted and crumbs still on his lips. In his bag, a half-finished project with glue that hadn't even dried. At school, the atmosphere was heavy. The Hindi exam was first. Monu sat down, heart pounding, hands trembling. He flipped the question paper and blank. His mind went completely blank. Words stared at him like strangers. He scribbled a few guesses, tried to recall Sonu's quick notes he'd seen once in passing, but it was like trying to read through fog. Meanwhile, Sonu sat 2 rows away, calm, steady, and precise. He answered each question with quiet confidence, then placed his neatly bound project on the teacher's desk like it was a gift. When the bell rang, Monu dragged his feet out of the classroom. Sonu walked out tall, not cocky, just ready. The next few days dragged on like wet clothes on a line. Monu avoided questions, avoided his dad's eyes. But the silence in the house was louder than any shouting. Then came the results. Sonu's name was announced first. Top marks, full credit, even a mention during assembly. Monu's name was next. There was no applause, just a few surprised looks. That evening, at home, the report cards were laid on the table. Their father stared at both sheets. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't scold. He simply looked at Monu and said, "You didn't fail because you're not smart. You failed because you didn't care in time." That broke him. No yelling, no punishments, just the weight of truth. And Monu finally felt it. That night, long after the lights were off and the house was quiet, Monu sat awake in bed. He stared at the ceiling like it had answers. Finally, he got up, walked over to Sonu's side and whispered, "You still awake?" Sonu turned over, eyes adjusting in the dim light. "Yeah." Monu didn't joke. He didn't smirk. He just sat down beside his twin and said, "I messed up, bro." Sonu didn't say anything at first, just listened. "I keep telling myself there's time, that I'll do it tomorrow. That one little delay won't matter, but it always adds up, and then it's too late, and I act like it's bad luck or someone else's fault." He paused. "I wasn't lazy. I was just scared. Scared to face things early. Scared to fail. So I hid." Sonu looked at him softer than usual. "It's not too late, Monu, but you've got to stop lying to yourself." Behind the door, their father had been passing by. He stopped, quietly walked in, sat at the edge of the bed. "You know," he said, "when I was your age, I did the same thing. Skipped preparing for a big scholarship interview. Thought I had more time. Thought talent alone would carry me. It didn't. I lost that chance. Never got it back." Both boys were quiet. "I just don't want you to carry the weight I did," their father said, voice soft. "Make your own luck, but start now." That night, Monu set an alarm for 5:30 a.m. And the next morning, before the sun was up, before birds even began their song, Monu was awake, dressed, ready. No big speech, no applause, just a quiet beginning. Because sometimes the most powerful change starts when no one's watching. And time only listens to those who show up.